national anthem or until we kill time until everybody's here? Sure you want to do this stuff, Carl? Hey, Dan. Oh, here they are. Here, Dan. Chief, what? Yeah. Anybody wears blue jean shorts to the meeting is okay with me. That's for that thing Thursday if you want to go. I'll waive the cover charge.
Apologize
Recording
for the
in
tardiness.
progress.
I'd like to call the Tuesday, May 17th meeting of the St. Joseph County Board of Commissioners to order. Please stand for the pledge.
After this, you guys are
He said you were buying lunch, so I wanted to dress up in case you went someplace nice. All right, first order of business is the opening reading of bids. There are none, so we will move on to reports and requests. Board of Commissioners, accounts payable docket. Is there a motion?
motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. Also note, Commissioner Dieter and myself are in the room. Commissioner Fleming is not able to join us today. All right, next up, we get to do a lot of great things as elected officials, but one of truly the best things we get to do is appreciate and acknowledge one of our employees. So it's with great pleasure. What? I'm sorry.
We have to go get that great employee.
Excellent. I didn't see, okay, I thought you,
We'll take care of that.
so we'll just put a pin in that and move on.
Employees always very punctual. These three are all kicked back.
Yep, okay.
But I'll talk about the citizen of the month real quickly.
All right, so we are delaying most of our other of the month's award until next meeting, but Commissioner Dieter.
The citizen of the month is Wilbur Lawson, and on Thursday, I put out a press release. We'll be honoring him on his 100th birthday. He was a World War II veteran who flew in B-17s, which is a bomber, Mr. Mish.
Well aware.
Back in the day. So there's a press release. We will have a motorcycle escort leaving from the American Legion in New Carlisle. He lives in Mill Creek, and then when we're there, he will receive a plaque, a bomber jacket with his 8th Air Force patch on it, and we will have a flyover by some military planes. So we will honor him on Thursday, and there's a press release. So anybody who wants to attend, you can meet us at the American Legion in New Carlisle. Then we're headed out to Mill Creek, which is 15 minutes, Mr. Caruso? About 15 minutes. And the other two, we will either do next week or in 2 weeks.
Thank you, sir. All right, well, now we will move on to bills passed by the St. Joseph County Council. At a public hearing held on May 10th, 2022, council took the following action. Bill 5722 became Ordinance 6122. It's a reconfiguration of the procurement department. Bill 5622, Ordinance 6222, salary transfer for the Health Department. Bill 5822, Ordinance 6322, monthly transfers and appropriation. Then we have a couple of emergency rental assistant fund appropriations. Bill 5922, Ordinance 6422, Bill 6022, Ordinance 6522, Bill 6122, Ordinance 6622, Bill 6222, Ordinance 6722, American Rescue Plan Fund appropriation, as is also Bill 6322, Ordinance 6822. Any questions or comments related to any of these items? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. So let's circle back to our Employee of the Month. One of the great things we get to do as elected officials is recognize those employees who truly make St. Joseph County a better place to work and, more importantly, for our citizens to live. When we hired this individual about a year and a half or 2 years ago, I made the comment that this is going to be, next to Bill Shalliel, of course, one of the very best hires we've ever made in St. Joe County, and that we were looking so forward to the great things that they were going to accomplish. So it is with a great deal of pleasure and knowing how uncomfortable this is going to make this individual as well makes it all the better that our Employee of the Month is Abby Wiles. You come on up. And you can tell what a dedicated public servant she is, that she was even late for this meeting because I'm sure she was doing something incredibly important.
Podium first.
Yep, at the podium, say a few words. Commissioner Dieter, anything you'd like to add?
Sure. Since my short tenure here, which has felt like a lot longer, Mr. Mish. Feels like years. Okay. I have been truly impressed with the work that Abby has done in her role, because most of the people who know me, I'm very alpha and aggressive, and she has been phenomenal in working on our code enforcement program, which the county has never had, and she took control of that, did a tremendous amount of research, and started our unit, which we have two of our top employees of our code enforcement here. Thank you. And they're doing a tremendous job, and that's all because of Abby, the way she organized it, the way we had public meetings, we had public outreach, developing something that's very good for St. Joe County, and we continue to improve that in addition to all of the other things that she does. And I can tell you, I've been extremely impressed with her work ethic, her availability, and everything she has done has been top-notch. Plus, I think you're taking me to lunch today with our code people, is that right? Which is very important. But again, I appreciate all the hard work you do. It's been very easy to work with you, to talk to you, to help out, and all that. So this is well-deserved.
So, Ms. Wiles, anything you'd like to say in your defense?
Just that I'm totally surprised. I had no idea this was coming, truly, until the text messages started coming that I needed to get my butt down here. Thank you very much. I'm very honored. It's been great working with SJC and IPG. We've got a lot of exciting things coming up over the next few years that I'm excited to be a part of. So thank you.
I'd like to add very quickly that, and Abby came in aside from it being COVID, there was, let's say, a bit of dysfunction in the Area Plan Commission that Abby stepped in and cleaned up, and we are moving between the comprehensive plan that she spearheaded to the great work she's done with Commissioner Dieter with code enforcement. I mean, she is standardizing operations from an area plan and IPG, so we are very fortunate to have her. And of course, since Commissioner Dieter and I are really crappy employees, we forgot to bring down the stuff that you should get as Employee of the Month. So we'll make sure we correct that error and deliver it to you as soon as we find out where it is. So my apologies for that. But anyone in the audience care to say anything about Ms. Wiles?
Of course, we need some fellow people that work with her to say a few words. Come on up.
And Abby, you can just stand there and look very uncomfortable while
I am. I'm very uncomfortable.
while this takes place.
When you
Please,
mentioned
state your
that,
name and-
yeah, my name is Sky Metters. I'm with the Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth. Office is on the 7th and 11th floor. And when you mentioned that this is makes Abby uncomfortable, you're 100% correct. Mainly because Abby's the type of person that it's not about the recognition for her. It's about doing the work, doing a great job, and making a difference. And for her, she's not doing it for the recognition. She is actually doing it to make our departments better, St. Joe County better, and just to make things easier all around for our residents. You mentioned Abby's work ethic. To me, it's something that I admire quite a bit, and also her attention to detail. And she whenever I have an issue that I'm struggling with, I'll go up and talk to Abby, and she sees things from a different point of view, of which I may be missing or others may be missing, and it's just, she's a great colleague to have to bounce stuff off of and to help out and things. So I really appreciate that she was given this award, because there's really no one more deserving than Abby. Thank you.
Hi, hey, I was calling. I'm a patient of Dr. Goldstein's,
Savannah.
and I was calling to see if you guys had any therapist open.
Please. That was a prelude for,
Okay. Hello, I'm Savannah Pletcher. I'm with Code Enforcement, in case those of you cannot see me. You heard from Abby's boss. Now you can hear from somebody who is below Abby. Code Enforcement, and Abby has been absolutely incredible, spearheading the Code Enforcement program as well as the comprehensive plan. And she's a parent. Like, I don't know any other person that can do all those things. So thank you. You're wonderful. Good job.
give her a round of applause. Why don't you come on up, Abby, even though we are nothing in our hands. Let's take a picture. All right, now we move on to approval of contract with Just FOIA. Counselor.
So Frank Fotia and I had an opportunity to go through several different software solutions for APRA requests. Our APRA portal now is a online form that gets filled out. It goes through Mr. Fotia, and it has to be triaged through numerous departments, also legal, and it's not always the most efficient system. Just FOIA provides a software all-in-one solution to be our main portal, to bring the different departments and the certain contacts at the departments all into one area that we can interact on. It will allow us a dashboard to track and see who is responsible for what part of the response. It'll give us better tracking of timelines and efficiency with the APRA responses. Sadly, I'm sure the legal bills will go down significantly because of this, but overall, I think it'll be great for the county to have more responsiveness to APRA. It also allows us to post online our APRA responses, so often our lovely members of the media will send us all approximately the same request, and now we can respond to it once and post it publicly, therefore reducing a significant amount of work. The contract is not overly expensive, and frankly, I think the reduction in attorney's fees will likely pay for itself.
Thank you. So I think a combination of that and just streamlining the process, so to make it much easier for us to be expedient in our replies to the media, because sometimes it takes us days just to sift through the requests that they've made just to get the data they're looking for. Any questions or comments from the board?
Sure. I guess it would probably be an internal policy about this, but when FOIAs are filed, will the commissioners get a email of, hey, so-and-so? Because a lot of time people have asked me, hey, we put in for this. I go, I have no idea. So will that be part of the whole software package that we know that somebody went to they want to know about highway equipment or whatever, that we at least have an FYI?
Sure, that's definitely something that we can do. It hasn't been done in the past, typically bothering the commissioners with, hey, I want a copy of my deed. But you can be on it and notified of every FOIA request, and then you can have access onto that dashboard to see what requests are there, what is the context of the request, and also where are we in the process of responding.
Yeah, citizens don't bother me, but I appreciate that. Yeah, I'd like to have that coming to us. At least we have an FYI.
Any other questions or comments? If not, is there a motion?
A move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Going aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion carries. Then we move on to the auditor. We've got 2 amendments to the emergency rental assistance. One is 1.0 for Catholic Charities of the Diocese of Fort Wayne South Bend. The second is to the 2.0 to the United Religious Community of St. Joseph County, Inc.
Good morning, Brandy Eckers. I'm a deputy county attorney with Thorne Grodnick at 420 Lincoln Way West in Mishawaka. As I foreshadowed at the end of the ERA amendment portion at your meeting last week, there were 2 of them that didn't make it in under the wire to go on that agenda. These 2 came in about 12 hours late in order to make that happen. It's the same situation. The initial estimates from these 2 organizations was just based on the first tranche of money they received, and so POs were issued later that authorized other administrative cost caps. And so this is just buttoning up the paperwork so that everything matches. In no way would anybody receive any more admin costs than they actually incurred. They have to submit invoices showing we incurred X amount of admin costs, and then that's what they get reimbursed. So this would not increase anything that they actually get. It would just increase the cap so that all of the paperwork matches.
Awesome. Any questions or comments from the board?
So basically, this is an add-on to what was done last week?
Yes, this would be the URC 1.0 was approved then, so this is their 2.0 amendment, and Catholic Charities, they only participated in 1.0, and for some reason, the 2 of them just didn't get these 2 in with their signatures in time to go on that agenda.
Okay. Again, just like in last week's thing, I have not been impressed with the bookkeeping, which Mr. Mish had to spend a great amount of time going over. So hopefully, continuing on with this, and I've have to go through the email I got with Max about a certain property owner who's been shut down by the city to go see what other options we have for the monies that were given to that person that operated illegally. But in the future, I just hope the county does a better job of keeping track, just basic bookkeeping of when we're giving money to entities. So thanks for the update on this.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Want to do them separately?
I think we should.
Yep.
So we're going.
Second, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. I'm the second guy today. So we're doing the Catholic Charities first.
1.0. Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you
Aye.
vote? Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. Is there a motion on URC?
The same opinion as 1.0, but I'll go with approval for 2.0.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Brandy.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on to HR. Approval of letter of engagement consulting services with Wagner, Irwin, Scheel, and Associates, Inc. Kim.
Kim Karkowitz, Human Resource Director, St. Joseph County, offices on the 7th floor of this building. The offer of consulting services from Wagner, Irwin, and Shields was a request from council and commissioners regarding salaries and doing a salary study. With this, it is a 2-part. There's a phase 1 and a phase 2. Phase 1 is going to be conducting a general review of existing pay structures and gathering information to provide council and departments. And then Part 2 is the job classification and rewriting of job descriptions. I have already went to council to secure the funding for this project, and now just need the letter of intent to be signed. I don't see Kent Irwin
I think he's up
on
there.
there.
He's up
I think
Is
he's
he
in
on
the-
there?
He's in the top, in the middle
There he
square,
is.
top middle square.
So he is on the call if you have any questions for him directly.
Are there any questions for Kim or for Kent?
Not a question, just a comment. I appreciate, again, all the work that Kim does from stopping little issues and all the other things, but this is a big part of HR, and unfortunately, we should have more people there, which is another discussion for the council, but to help out with all the other things that she has on her plate, I think it's a very, very good thing just to get this process going, so good job.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. Next, approval of State of Indiana Public Employment Deferred Compensation Plan Resolution and Adoption Agreement.
This adoption agreement has come about because of the awarding of our Hoosier Start 457 Deferred Compensation Plan being awarded to Nationwide. This would be the standard plan along with the Roth option that we had signed in the fall. This would be for the auditor of the state to have this amended agreement on file with the new plans being administered by Nationwide.
Any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Moving on to infrastructure planning and growth. We have, first item is the consent agenda. We have an irrevocable letter of credit cash-in in Vernus Woods, Section 1. Any questions or comments regarding this? Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. Next up, we've got a series of bid awards. I figure we'll do these we can have one conversation, but take separate votes on it. We got bid award for FJC Highway annual bid for drainage pipes and structures, guardrail and bridge materials, traffic paint and signage materials, liquid bituminous material. Mr. Sky.
Sky Metters, Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth, offices on the 7th and 11th floor. What these items are the remaining 3 items of the 6 annual bids that we did about a month ago. And each one of these, we are recommending that all bids be accepted, and the actual material will be obtained from the lowest bidder, and if that bidder is unavailable to meet the request, then it moves on to the next bidder on the list. We have reviewed this and recommend approval, and can answer any questions.
Are there in fact any questions or comments for Sky?
Not at the present time.
Seeing that, is there a motion? I guess we'll take each one of these individually. So we'll do for drainage pipes, et cetera.
Move for approval for drainage pipe and structures, guardrail and bridge materials.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. Next, traffic paint and signage materials.
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Next, liquid bituminous material.
Can you spell that without looking at it?
THAT.
Thank you. I'll move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Going aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you, Sky. All right, next up, my understanding is,
We're asking to withdraw this item, please.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
Bill Shallow, 7th floor, 11th floor, IPG.
So council, do we need to take any formal action to remove it from the agenda or just not take any action on it at all?
You are in charge of the agenda, you can remove it.
So we'll just remove it. Moving on. Professional Services Proposal, IEC Core Development Area Zoning Land Use Project, Kendig Keast Collaborative.
Good morning. This is Sean Klein, Infrastructure Planning and Growth staff with offices on the 7th and 11th floor. So this is a proposal from Kendig Keast Collaborative to develop a zoning overlay district specifically for developments within the IEC core development area. And the purpose of this overlay would really be to give concrete structure and force to the assurances that the county offered the public throughout the IEC rezonings, namely that this will be an aesthetically appealing industrial development developed with a real concern for sensitive environmental resources and vital agricultural resources in the area, as well as just to mitigate any adverse effects on the community. By adopting the overlay, it'll give staff sort of clear guidelines that will allow for a predictable and consistent review process for the developers within this core development area. Additionally, the overlay will fulfill the county's guidelines in Resolution R11C 2020, which were to develop design guidelines and standards for the core area, which address buffer zones and setbacks, green space requirements, and development practices, landscaping that includes natural and native plantings, dark sky sensitive lighting, signage, drainage, integration of pedestrian paths and trails, and other sustainable features to differentiate the core area from other industrial areas in the county. Currently, under our existing General I industrial district, we don't have any of these more material developed, heightened development standards. So in order to give force to what we want to see this core development area look like, we'll need this additional level of review and standards. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Just want to add that this kind of continues the county's commitment to moving forward more responsibly in the IEC, to take some of the feedback that we've received, and also just to make the development process easier so everyone knows exactly what the expectation is when they move forward, and to help us get through this process quickly, or I guess more quickly. I appreciate the work that Bill has done and Abby as well to help standardize this process. Commissioner Dieter, anything you'd like to add?
Of course. Is this just encompass the IEC area?
Specifically the core development area.
Okay. Will this then transcend to the rest of the county at some point?
What we're really trying to tailor this to is that core development area. If we find practices that work there, it might be something that we could apply to other industrial developments in the future, but that's not really on our radar at the moment.
Okay. Will this be part of our county master plan?
It will actually be part of the zoning ordinance for the county as well as for the town of New Carlisle.
Okay. Has this been given or spoke to, or the people that live out in New Carlisle, Olive Township, have they been made aware of this, or have we gotten any feedback on this from them?
Not yet. We have formed a working group with representatives from the town council of New Carlisle as well as Olive Township trustee. There will be, at the very least, it'll have to go through the area plan commission, the public hearing there, and then public hearings before the county council and the town council of New Carlisle. I would imagine, hopefully I'm going to work to release a draft of the overlay ordinance for public comment prior to those public hearings.
But this just begins the process.
Correct.
So this begins all the communication that will follow, but this is.
Exactly.
Kicks that off so we can then gather that information.
Absolutely right.
Right, that's the reason I asked the question. But
Thank you.
just to make, I don't know if it's going to be Bill or you or Chris, just to make, Bill, out of the way,
Yeah.
point right to him. But make sure, because that was a big hiccup that I've encountered in my old district, of people wanting to know what's going on. So once that process goes, I'd be happy to go, because I still talk to those people out there, but I think this is a good step to make sure that we're talking to them and get their input on this, so.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, next up, we have two professional services proposals for disposition appraisal 56275 Snowberry Road. One is from Iverson Grove, one is from Appraisal Services, Inc. We can have a conversation about both, but then we'll take separate action.
Good afternoon, or good morning, Bill Shalio, Economic Development, offices on 7th and 11th floor, part of Department of Infrastructure Planning and Growth. These are two professional services for disposition of property. The Redevelopment Commission, Board of Commissioners acquired this property in late 2020. As we've now done demolition of the house that was on the site, we'd like to get the property appraised. For disposition, obviously the character of the property has changed without a house on the site. So we'd like to get a value for the site for future disposition purposes. Two proposals, Iverson Grove in the amount of $2,000 and Appraisal Services, Inc. in the amount of $1,500. Staff reports is $1,800, but this one is $1,500. The Redevelopment Commission approved both of these proposals at their meeting last Thursday. Any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Are there in fact any questions or comments from the board?
Of course, what are we looking to do with that once the appraisals come in? Is this gonna be
So
commercial?
it could be sold off, it could be, we have a interested adjacent property owner that has some interest in it or parts of it, and so to do anything with getting rid of it, we have to get a value. We actually have to get two independent values of the property.
Okay. You recall what we originally paid for all that?
So we originally paid about $420,000 for the whole property. So it was a house, some outbuildings, and then farm acreage. So now that it's just farm acreage, we just need to understand what the shift in value is.
And the reason that we purchased those was,
So originally it was a strategic acquisition for future roadway redesign of Larison Boulevard as we looked at making a north-south corridor through the site. As we work with the state on intersection improvements at State Road 2 in Larison, the state's preference is to keep Larison, or keep the main road at Larison. So it has the potential to become surplus property.
so hopefully those appraisals will be very high.
That would be the hope.
Cool.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Is there a motion?
Do we do
First
them
for,
together or individually?
yeah, for
Separate.
Inverness Grove.
We'll go with the first one, G. I'll move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. Now go on to Appraisal Services, Inc.
Move for approval.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to Professional Services Proposal, Hazard Mitigation, State Road 933, Ash Road, and Mobility Study, North-South Corridor, Evan Marsh Consultants.
So this is a proposal that, again, the Redevelopment Commission heard and approved last Thursday. This is a multifaceted study. It studies the railroad corridor, the Norfolk Southern Rail Corridor from the county line at County Line Road, Ash Road, west to Capitol Avenue. It'll study the potential to develop an overpass or underpass on the Norfolk Southern Corridor, either at Ash Road or somewhere in that Osceola corridor. It also then studies the potential for an interchange improvement at Beach and the bypass. The state of Indiana purchased land and actually cleared and graded the land for an interchange there 20-plus years ago, almost 30 years ago. And so then we're looking at costing for what it would cost to put an interchange there as originally proposed. This study, again, multifaceted. It's mobility, it's safety, it's economic development, has everything kind of wrapped up into one. The proposal is from Avon Marsh Consulting for a not-to-exceed amount of $72,000. This study is one of the studies identified that should be done as part of the County Connection study that was done, is a partnership between Elkhart County and St. Joe County last year. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Are there in fact any questions or
Is
comments?
the state throwing in any money for this study, or just all us?
So this is all local money. Norfolk Southern will be a partner in the work. Osceola is excited about this. There's a lot of community interest and support. Senator Linda Rogers is a big proponent of this. So there's a lot of people that have a lot of interest in seeing the study done. Again, very, very, very high-level study. It doesn't guarantee any outcome in particular, but it certainly looks at the outcome, so. And I will tell you, if you,
What's the difference between a regular study and a high-level study?
the practicality of getting it
monetary?
done, so, money is always one of those, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because she had texted me, and probably texted you today, that she's also in favor of this, so hopefully if there's other funding that the people from the state can help us out with, that'd be appreciative, so
Most certainly.
move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. Next, Magnus Capital Partners, letter of intent, Portage Manor Campus.
So today before you is a letter of intent to study development opportunities on a roughly 18.5 acre site within the Portage Manor campus. The proposal was submitted by Magnus Capital Partners in Vishal. Aurora is on the call. Third one over on the top row. He made a presentation, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, to the board of directors of Portage Manor. Has previously presented to the Board of Commissioners. This is a study. This is just a high-level study. Looking at Portage Manor and the Portage Manor site for the potential for housing on part of the site. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. This is a no-cost study to the county. This is at their expense as they look at the potential for development on our property. Any questions, I would be happy to answer them, or Vishal could.
This could be a low-level study then, if
It
we're
could
not
be.
paying for it. Any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, sure, this is just a study, that nobody has agreed to sell property, do things, because we have a big issue with Mr. Mish and the board and Frank Fotia looking at the upgrade or what we're gonna do with Portage Manor itself. We also have a county highway garage possibility, so again, this is just information that we are gathering to see how that fits in the master plan. You're gonna say something, go ahead.
No, that's absolutely correct. Actually, we're not doing the study.
Right.
Vishal's company is doing the study, and then we'll incorporate his information into all of the pieces, including the rock solid trail study.
Yeah, well,
and
I
how
just
these
want to
people-
convey to the media and everybody else that we're not selling property, nothing's going there. This is just a study that which they are paying for to see all the things that would be advantageous for the citizens of St. Joseph County.
And I would note that the Board of Directors of Portage Manor did affirmatively support going forward with the study. So they were presented to all of the members
Right.
that were present,
And
so,
it's a study.
a study.
Much like the last time this came before us,
Well, this is, yes.
This is a study that initiates a process for us to determine later on. Questions or comments? If there are no more, is there a motion?
A move for approval of a study, low level.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Bill.
Before I yield the microphone, I would like to say the next item on the agenda under procurement is for new equipment for our GIS team. And I would like to thank Commissioner Dieter for his support and the commissioners all in support for all of the new equipment that we have received. So we appreciate your support of this and the other pieces. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks for the segue, Mr. Bill. Brings us to procurement, approval of candidate agreement for production large format printer.
Bree Roberts, Director of Procurement with offices on the 7th floor of this building. Before you today is this agreement to purchase a production large format printer with a 3-year extended warranty for GIS, as Bill mentioned. The machine they're currently using is old and parts are no longer available. I believe it was purchased during the Pete Mullen days, so it has been around for quite a while. So they are in need of this machine. The board previously approved this purchase as far as funding on March 24th and also subsequently on April 11th due to the fact that we waited a while and the price increased per the quote. At the time of those approvals, we went ahead and cut the purchase order. After that purchase order was sent to the vendor, we then received this agreement for execution. So that is short synopsis of why this is before you today. I do have the vendor representative here, should you have more specific questions. And this agreement was looked over by legal. I believe it was Brandy. She made a lot of comments to which Canon commented back and incorporated, I believe, the majority, but not all of those comments.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Of course, like the biggest packet we got today,
I
which is
know.
awesome. No, this is one of the many upgrades that the commissioners have been cognizant of in the county. We help voter registration with machines there, all the stuff that you do, which is in your office is immense. So this, again, the upgrades that we're looking at a new IT director. So we're constantly trying to get to that high level of expertise, but this is very good. So I really appreciate your work on this.
No problem.
There are no more questions or comments. Is there a motion?
Moving for an approval.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Bree. Moving on to old business. There is none, which brings us to public comments. We'll start with our friends in the room, and then we'll move on to our friends on Zoom.
Henry Gibson.
Good morning. Deborah Durrell, 21677 Auten Road, South Bend. Thank you for your work this morning. I would like to pick up where I left off last week. While sitting on the edge of Great Salt Lake, I noticed the gulls flying in one direction from 4 o'clock until dusk. With their slow, steady wing beats, they flew southwest. I pocketed this information like a small stone. The next day, I returned and witnessed the same pilgrimage. After all these years of cohabitation, the gulls had finally seized my imagination. I had to follow. The gulls were flying to their nesting colonies on the islands of the Great Salt Lake. Gulls must fly great distances between island nesting sites and foraging grounds. Round trips between 50 to 100 miles are made from the islands to the Bear River Migratory Bird Refuge daily. White pelicans, double-crested cormorants, and great blue herons, also colony nesters, must make these same migrations to the surrounding marshes of the Great Salt Lake. The population of colony nesting birds on the islands fluctuates with the lake level and human disturbances. Herons, cormorants, and pelicans are much more sensitive to these pressures than the gulls. The populations of herons, cormorants, and pelicans are decreasing, whereas evidence shows gull communities are on the rise. Gulls are more resilient to change and less vulnerable than other birds to environmental stresses. The balance between colony nesting birds, the fluctuating Great Salt Lake, and its wetlands is a delicate one. This is about the Great Salt Lake in Utah. However, it does share a lot in common with our local waterways, the Great Lakes Audubon and the St. Joseph River. And so I'm impressed about how we move into native and natural areas and then consider the animals that are desperate to live there as pests. So with that in mind, I would like to share something that I experienced this morning. Thank you. These are some important voices to remember in St. Joseph County.
Thank you, Deborah. Anyone else from the room?
Seriously, Caruso? Gotta have
Well, I'm
something.
taking advantage of this while we got it.
Man.
So, moving on to our friends from Zoom. I think Cheryl, your hand is up.
Yes, thank you very much. Cheryl Nix, 17901 Sable Ridge Drive, South Bend, Indiana. I live in Clay Township, and I'm a resident of the First District, even the newly designed First District. I would also like to start by actually thanking Deborah for that inspiring reading and the beautiful sounds of nature. I hadn't planned on saying this, but I was very interested in what Sean Klein was discussing. I didn't realize he was going to do this presentation today. It would have been really helpful, and he was speaking very quickly. I was writing as fast as I could. If he had perhaps done a PowerPoint slide, I think there was so much that he was sharing that was important. I think that might have been helpful for all of us. I think it's exciting to think about creating guidelines that he's discussing with buffer zones and asking for natural native plantings. And so I'm glad that that's part of the discussion. And I also agree, Commissioner Dieter, we need the citizens of the area to be involved in the discussions. I'm glad they're at the table. The main reason I wanted to speak today was about the Tribune article entitled Bridge to the Next Crisis, written on Thursday, May 12th. I'm very concerned that it seems that the Board of Managers of Portage Manor, I don't know if they're possibly mismanaging, because the dilemma that was created by the hiring of an unlicensed administrator could mean that we're spending up to $80,500 for a 2-month interim director. And also, Robin Shallenor was the previous director. She spoke last week. One of the reasons she resigned was she disagreed with the direction in which the Board of Managers was steering the manor. This is according to the Tribune. She resigned after the board denied her an opportunity to present a plan for facility renovations to the county council. And also, while she was director, Portage Manor was recognized by the state as an example of exceptional quality, which other facilities should strive to attain. So I'm very concerned that she felt the need to resign when she obviously was leading well. And also, I'm very concerned that she was denied that opportunity to present a plan. So in the meantime, we're now looking at them asking for $25 to $32 million. So I just want to express my concern about what I see as a potential waste of tax dollars. Thank you.
Thank you. I will note that Robin did present a plan to the council and to the Board of Commissioners, and it was as a result of that plan that council asked that we pursue other options. That's including building a brand new facility and other measures. So her comments were reflected and acted upon, and that is what the Board of Managers is now looking to do.
Thank you for that clarification.
Mm-hmm. Any other public comments from our friends on Zoom? Seeing none, a motion to recess is in order.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Castelny, how do you vote?
Aye. We are recessed.
Recording stopped.
There you go, Sparky. Go, Peter. Got your care package.
Sweater vest.